Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and I'm not sure why, but I've been really happy and excited to do this video all day. I kind of changed things up. I've been doing Splato Delgado's kind of turned into a Star Wars a day video. Uh, yes, I am ripping off Ethan Van Sciver. I don't actually don't think he's covering this topic. You think he's going to do something else, but anyway. I found this information earlier today, and I was like, "Oh, it's going to be too long to do during my lunch or my breaks at work," so I had to wait till after work. But this thing has me really excited, just in general about uh, um, Star Wars, but also about comics and things I'm doing. So I'll just get right into it. Although I didn't really arrange these in any proper order. So the basic thing is that I did a video last night about Roast Tico and the Last Jedi toys that they can't sell and how terrible the toys are. And then find out, and I just found out about it because it just ended like a day or two ago, that Hasbro has a thing called Has Labs, which is a new initiative that's basically an in-house Kickstarter. And they basically say, hey, we've got this idea for a really cool toy. Let's see if they show the whole thing. All right, this is the one that just shows. Actually, no, this one does. So they're like, we're going to do a Jabba, I think it's called the Katana, this gigantic toy. But we got to get pre-orders. We got to get 5,000 people to order it for, get ready for it, $500 a piece. And then we're going to make this. Now you're going to see from this and the other article, I can't believe there were so many articles and I didn't find out about it till afterwards, that it's absolutely beautiful. It's the biggest vehicle playset that's ever been made for Star Wars, you know, the 3 3/4 characters. Very high quality, obviously high price as well. But if you think about it, not that high for especially one of the biggest things that I had to get into when I quit being broke and then I got a good job in IT. And a lot of times I would be the person to evaluate, you know, for a bid or for a contract to buy something or to rent it. And I really had to learn about value. And a lot of my earlier bosses, they had to say, you know, you just spent like, you know, I would get a, hey, we're flying you to the city, so go order some plane tickets. And then I would find a plane ticket for $500 and I would say, ooh, that's expensive. And then I would spend an hour and a half to find a cheaper version. I would find someone for like $405 and I'd be all proud. I was like, hey, boss, I just saved us $95. I found a cheaper flight. He's like, really? How long did it take you to find that? I go, like an hour and a half. He's like, yeah, let's take your hourly rate and subtract it. Yeah, you didn't save us any money. I was like, oh, okay. So you say this is $500. Now, it's kind of like cheesy to say I treasure something, but the person who buys this is going to treasure this. Not only because you can see this is incredibly high quality, knowing that this would not exist except for you. If it wasn't you and 4,000, or actually, they ended up getting like 8,800 people to crowdfund it. They ended up making $4.4 million. Look at that cockpit, it's beautiful. See some of the other pictures. This is how big it's going to be. And look at that. This is beautiful, gigantic. It's not to scale. It's like in Step Brothers when Will Ferrell says, "It's okay, my Chewbacca mask isn't movie quality, but gosh, does it just look great?" And this thing, the current system. This is very analogous to two things I like. I like Star Wars stuff. Well, I like John Carter and Star Trek. And I like comics, and both things are kind of dying. The comic stores and the industry is kind of dying. The toy industry, as it used to be, is kind of dying. And yet, something like this can be produced that might be the most high quality mass produced toy ever. Now, yeah, they're only quote only gonna make like probably about 9,000 of these, but that's enough to be a collector's item, especially since most people are just gonna flat out keep them. I like how there's a statue of a Rancor up in the front. So they had a month long, and then they actually ended up doing a stretch goal for this yak face figure. Um, But actually, some of the other articles have a better. So yeah, so now I'll actually read the actual article. Um, Jabba's sail barge will be the coolest Star Wars toy of all time. Hasbro's first attempt at crowdsourcing a prestige collectible toy has paid off. So it's from this morning. It kind of sucks that they didn't advertise as much when it was happening. I didn't see articles advertising this, but then as soon as it's successful, there was a ton of them. I mean, this could have done like 15, 20,000. I'm pretty sure if I would have done a live stream and I said, hey guys, if you guys do enough super chats for me to buy this thing, I'll order it, get it, do a live stream unboxing showing it off, and then like raffle it off to someone. Hell yeah. I would have made 500 to order this thing in like 15 minutes. So way back in February, toy maker Hasbro surprised many when it announced a bold new crowdsourcing campaign. This is more than bold. This is groundbreaking. If they do some stuff like this in the future, for freaking, I'd like to see have they ever done a full scale blockade runner? That's the vehicle from the beginning of A New Hope. Or I'd like to see G.I. Joe, some high quality, especially from the cartoons, like the mass device, and maybe that arena where Duke and fought that giant Samoan guy or whatever the hell he was supposed to be. So the crowdsourcing campaign, it's called HasLab, and its goal is to help bring dream products to market for collectors. So I'm going to talk about comics too. I hope that doesn't bother people. I got a comics channel as well. There's a lot of negativity and things are bad. Sales down 10%, 50 stores went out of business. But one guy who's got a very positive attitude, he basically said, we're moving into being an artisanal industry. And that's one way to make it look better. And, you can say, oh, so this is expensive. It's like, yeah, it's expensive, but people can still afford this. Hell, you got a couple roommates, split it between the three of y'all. Hasbro's first project succeeded earlier this week, pre-selling 8,810 units of Jabba the Hutt sail barge from Return of the Jedi. It's a remarkable moment with one of the world's largest manufacturers of toys stealing a page from Kickstarter's crowdfunding book to bring a prestige piece to life. This is why it's also groundbreaking. They could have done this on Kickstarter, but then they would have lost the PayPal takes their VIG, Kickstarter takes their VIG. There's some other tiny little VIG that you got to put in there. I learned the word VIG from reading Elmore Leonard novels in the 90s. Hasbro says, we could not have done this without you. Now it is our turn to get to work making this dream product a reality. And honestly, for the people who get this is going to be a dream. Like I said, it's not just very high quality artisanal production, but it's also like you made it happen. So it's 49 inches long, 17 inches high. You've seen pictures of it. The campaign's success comes at an inflection point for the retail toy industry. The Toys R Us bankruptcy loomed large in Hasbro's annual investor relations call, and the closure of all of its U.S. locations represents a colossal loss of shelf space for Hasbro. The company is also recovering from soft holiday sales of toys brought to market for Disney's blockbuster film Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And I got another tab for that. And you're going to see some interesting, it feels like Hasbro, maybe the left hand is not speaking to the right hand or whatever. What is it? What is that? The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, something like that. So, what's it saying? I don't understand this one. So they're going to come up with a booklet like that. So then here's the actual HasLabs website. So just start right here. What is the actual landing page? Okay, so this is a landing page and it has a little video. I actually had to hunt around for the price. I think they kind of hid the price like on the last page of, the order form. But you see this right here. The ultimate dream item, their goal was 5,000. They got 8,800. Successfully backed. And again, this is not a Kickstarter. This is them creating a web page and a web forum and applications to make it all happen in-house, which is Papa Bless, clap alert, brilliant. So you also get a booklet on the making of it. This campaign will move into production when it reaches its minimum backing goal of 5,000. Your payment method will be charged once it ships. That is also key and brilliant, because one of the things about Kickstarter is you get billed at the end of the campaign, and then unfortunately a lot of people fulfill Kickstarters very late or never fulfill them. So this takes all the risk out of it. Although you do have to manage your money. You do actually have to make sure you always got 500 in there. So then they basically talk about this has been like a dream vehicle. I actually forgot to look this up, but there was this it was Jabba's palace, but I'll show it later. But anyway, so this is a little sideways. They did a 3D model of it to plan it out. Like I said, not to scale, but still pretty darn cool. Okay, so we've seen all this stuff. So okay, so that's everything. And then they talk about the different features for it. Now notice also one thing about the colors here in the description. This is very clearly marketed for adults and for serious collectors. It doesn't have the bright colors of kids advertisements and a lot of, animations and things like that. They're just basically describing it, Look at this concept sketch. It's cool. And there's a lot of getting very excited about, I'm part of this process. You're basically a financier for it, but you also get to receive it. So then they talk about the movie and, the original. Geez, look at the model is actually pretty much the same size. That's cool. Okay, some more of that. And so let's go to another one. This one is Nerdist did a vehicle or did a article on it. See if it says anything. Okay, so this was at the beginning. So there were when they started the campaign, there was actually some articles on it, but I never saw this. Okay, so because Hasbro wants to make the vehicle to scale with 3 3/4 inch figures, this is something too huge and expensive for retail. That's not exactly the deal. It's that the retail is gone. Like there's no Toys R Us pretty soon to put this in. You can sell this, but the real thing is they're taking a lot of risk without guaranteed sales, which is now what they have. So if you want it made, you and 4,999 other fans have to pre-order it at the not cheap price of $500. I'm telling you, people are going to be ecstatic about this. This isn't the first major toy line like this to crowdfund. Mattel successfully got fans to pre-buy a $300 Castle Grayskull for its Masters of the Universe, but failed to get enough support for a more expensive Ghostbusters Ecto-1. Oh, interesting. I heard about the Castle Grayskull because there's a really good series on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us, and I think they showed it at the end of the episode. So the pre-orders... Oh, I guess when they just started, they only had 91 backers. You can add your pledge here. See, is it still open? Okay, yeah, no, it's just the same thing. So I got a couple more tabs here. Oh, I don't know what that is. Turn off my... okay, so see if there's any new information right here. Stop! I hate you so much.
Scams on the street since I was 10.
Right. Stop.
I was kicked out of the flight academy.
I'm kicking you out of my flight academy for ruining my video, Han Solo. Why did you start? Why would you do it? Anyway, I think I already covered this. So this is pretty good. Freaking Han Solo. Good to end the video is that you see that the HasLabs portion of Hasbro doing really great. And then the Hasbro CEO says an error was made with the Star Wars toys. And you're going to see, God, I hate puns. I hate these stupid puns on plays on word. The Force wasn't with Hasbro Incorporated during its latest Star Wars merchandising push. Shut up. God, I hate reporters. They always have to be so cheesy like that. So the CEO said the company made an error by releasing toys too far ahead of the the movies when the Last Jedi came out. I guess they released them in September. The movie came out in December. That's not the issue. The issue is actually not the fault of Hasbro. The issue is the fault of Kathleen Kennedy and them, who decided that a dumpy, fat-faced Rose Tico would sell to any of the actual market for the cheaper toys, which, as I said, flat out, is fat Mexican kids at HEB. And whatever the equivalent of is, whatever state you're in. So then they basically say they hope to duplicate the success of 2015. In both cases, they did the same plan that worked okay for Force Awakens. The deal with Force Awakens, it was the sequel. It wasn't a prequel. It was a big deal, and they did have like new designs. You got to see the new stormtroopers and like Kylo Ren. Who's Kylo Ren? That was kind of cool. This one, they just kind of brought people back. Poe Dameron, Finn, they all kind of looked the same. There were no real new creations besides freaking Rose Tico and Admiral Holdo. Like, come on. So overall revenue fell 2%, which isn't that bad. I mean, it's actually a lot better than comics. The Star Wars slump has fed the idea that consumers are suffering from broader franchise fatigue brought on by too many movie sequels. No, it's just that these aren't that exciting. Like I said, the whole point about toys is you get this feeling from the movie and you reenact it. So a fat little Mexican kid called Josue is supposed to buy the Rose Tico, and he's supposed to reenact when she sat in a sad little room by herself and tasered people who tried to go AWOL. Or when the hero almost had his big heroic moment, she stopped him and gave him a speech that made no sense. Or he's supposed to buy an Admiral Holdo figure and have her lecture all of the more experienced military officers and have a little nice moment with Leia and then kill herself and take out a capital ship. Like, where are you supposed to go with that? Hasbro can sell toys from Return of the Jedi better than they can sell them for... God, what would you crowdfund from The Last Jedi? Like the capital ship being cracked in half? That sad little base that they went to at the last scene? Like what? The freaking casino? What would you crowdfund? I mean, I could think of stuff to crowdfund from Rogue One. Obviously, the little scaled down version of the little Florida Keys looking location they had at the end fight, or maybe that landing pad in the rain and the dark. That would be pretty cool. But man, from The Last Jedi. Oh, you know what you could crowdfund? What's his name? Goldmember's little throne room with the surrounds, the Panavision screen in red, and then it can retract just like it. You could probably do that. But no, you wouldn't get anything like you did with the Skiff. Because the Skiff was from when Star Wars had blood in its veins. It was exciting. It was fun. It was different. Every single Star Wars movie, they introduced tons of new characters, new concepts, new vehicles, everything. You can't re-release the same old toys in the same quality and think you're going to do good. So anyway, tell me what you think about this video. Tell me what you think. Would you have bought the Jabba the Hutt? I think it's called the Catan. Would you have bought his skiff? I wouldn't bought it. I'm not that big. I don't really collect toys. What if I would have gotten it and then broken it? It's like for if you give me $500 in super chats, I'll smash this thing with a hammer. That would have been a fun video. But I really like the idea of the toy industry and the comic industry changing to being artisanal. I got a Kickstarter starting in a couple days, and we're really going for the thing being high quality, not just the story, but the form, the binding, everything. So tell me what you think about this video. Tell me if you would have bought that Jabba's skiff. Tell me what would you crowdfund from The Last Jedi? Oh, would you do Rose Tico's little escape pod chamber where she electrocutes people trying to go AWOL because they want to live because they found out how bad of a leader Admiral Holdo was. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll have another Star Wars video up tomorrow, and then I have my comic book videos, about 3 of them a day over there on Diversity in Comics. Thanks for watching. Bye.